What's going on, workforce? Brian here.
Chris here.
And today we're diving into should Square-Enix incentivize mine, aka minimum item level, no echo content. This is being brought to you by none other than the Final Fantasy XIV discussion subreddit. I'll include a link in the description. Chris, what's up, dude? How you been?
I'm doing great. I think that one of the common topics that has come up as we have a lot of new players coming in from various backgrounds is as they get into content and they get caught up for the first time and they start to be aware of how big the end game is as far as all the backlog of content, they get concerned, well, what is it going to take to stay caught up? What does it take to gear?
Mm-hmm.
What does it take to keep jobs up to cap? What does it take throughout the expansion? Are there things I'm gonna have to do every day, every week? How often are raids? How many raids are there? And actually, especially if they come from World of Warcraft, one of the disappointing things that they find out is that there's only 4 Savage raids per tier. There's only 4. And then we get our extreme trials, which if you're clearing all 4 Savages aren't really that much of a roadblock. And then sometimes we get an ultimate. And so you can, if you're somebody who heavily focuses into that traditional end game definition, run out of content. If you're not looking to do side things such as crafting, gathering, blue mage, PvP, all of this other stuff, triple triad, the whole mix,
Right.
You can run out. The answer to that is that this game has an incredible set of tools to go back and make past things relevant from a combat perspective. There's no special loot behind them. There's no special achievements, which I believe is what this post is asking. Should they look at a way to incentivize people doing that? Because we have 2 terminologies that we use. We have synced content, which means that you are going down to the level that is appropriate for it. So maybe it was released when the game was level 70, so you'll be knocked down to level 70. Mm-hmm. But you will be put into basically really freaking good gear for the time. You'll have access to the skills and abilities for a level 70, unless something's been pruned since then. So some weird version of what 70 was back then. And then you can clear that content. It is how we run all of our roulettes. And the synced system works fine. And as a matter of fact, this expansion, we have relic content where it even synced you up to item level 430. So you're item level 430, whether outside of that you're above it or below it, it just shoots you to level 80, 430. And so the synced system has worked really well in making things, it's how our fates are. You click that sync button, there's no way to leave it always enabled. And you click that sync button and that's how the sync system works for this game. We also have a term called minimum item level, which is exactly what it sounds like. It takes you back to the minimum required gear for the time. Now, you not only have the limitation of the skills and abilities, but you are back at the hardest that content was designed to be clearable.
Yeah. So I guess just the quick answer before we do our 22 minutes, yes or no? Should this exist in Final Fantasy XIV?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, it already exists.
Well, meaning
should it
the incentive is of that. And because it already exists. And so I absolutely agree. So essentially the question then is like, well, what should that incentive be? And so, guys, if you have your thought, what would incentivize you to do minimum item level content, no echo? Let us know what your thoughts are. Because here's the first thing I'm going to say, though. Yes, it should be a thing. But more than anything else, I want my skills. I like playing the level 80 content. And I look at the level 70, the 60, the 50. Yes, I love Unreal. Despite that,
so what is Unreal for anybody new to the game? Because that is a new concept.
Unreal takes a fight. In this case, right now, it's Leviathan, and it says, "Hey, Leviathan, you were level 50. Now you're level 80 content." So you go into it, and it's challenging like it was back in the day, with the stats and everything increased, but you still have your 80 skill set, and that's something I really thoroughly enjoy. Now, I don't do it all the time. I don't even think I've gotten a clear, but I appreciate that, and I long for that within the other content. The other way you can go around that is that minimum item level is really challenging. If you've never done a minimum item level run, note that you're going to find yourself being pushed. And when they talk about challenging content, that's only challenging if really you're at that minimum item level. Challenging new dungeons, minimum item level run, you're going to feel that. And it's actually quite interesting. But being that there's no real incentive to keep going into that. So more than anything else, before I would say, yes, incentivize minimum item level, that level sync would be an interesting choice to give me my skills, because then that could also become another option. We could take mine and move it even further, saying skill sync versus not skill sync. Let me go in and just do the content with my rotation and see if I can, challenge it at that level. Now, so the question, Chris, first things first for you, because like that's really the thing that stands out to me in this discussion is I really, really want my skills in lower level content. But what would be an incentive for you? Like, what is it that gets you to go and say, you know what, that's something I'm going to make a day out of the week?
So I think you hit the home run idea, right? How do we make this thing like infinitely flexible?
Mm-hmm.
I think I would come at it from how do we make this something affordable that if we ask for it, the devs go,
okay,
that might be possible.
Right.
And for me, that's we've got to have a way to track what you've cleared on when it was either appropriate at the time or done synced, and what you've done minimum item level, either at the time or later under minimum item level with no echo. You've got to be able to track those. And assuming you can track no echo clears that are party finder only, because you don't want duty finder people being like, oh, you got to disable the echo, I want my Chiefs. Like, assuming we can track this, right? Blue Mage has already shown us we can have things that aren't allowed in the duty finder. And so assuming that it's trackable, for me, what I think would be cool is they've shown us that gilded mounts are the new gold mounts, where they basically say spend a lot of gil in-game currency, and you can buy an existing mount with a reskin where it shoots gold everywhere and it's all plated in gold. What I would like to see is the collector's edition mount tied to that expansion with a reskin for synced and a reskin for minimum item level.
Okay.
Progressive reskins.
Yeah.
And so I would make one that is just a different color than the ones that are there, and then I would make one osmod or diamonded or something insane for minimum item level. And then that way people after that expansion's over, or if they want to allow some portion of that to be earned during cycle, maybe it's only after it's over, people can go back, re-clear that content, and we can go get the existing mount models with new skins that are entirely tied to breathing life into the content of those. And that way we've got a Realm Reborn, Heavensward, Stormblood, and now Shadowbringers unique mounts that are they're just reskins. They're just shiny. They're not anything crazy. We're not asking you to spin up a new model. We're not asking you to come up with something so cool that, the people want, but that other people aren't hurt, that, wow, you picked like my favorite creature from the entire game and now I have to do something insane to get it. No. That's it. That's all they are.
Mm-hmm.
Do I get a title? Sure, maybe you get a title. Do I get something relevant? No.
No.
I wouldn't. Do I get gil?
Yeah.
No.
Because if you tie it to progression,
currency.
Right. If you tie it to progression, then it could end up feeling like just another chore in terms of that rotation. And that's actually one of the things that it's really clear to see some of those people who have frustrations with WoW. It's like, I got to go do my chores. I got to go do this now. I got to go do this, because if it's adding to your overall progression, there you go. I would like to see, though, again, I can spend invisible fake Square-Enix dollars here till the cows come home. I would like to see a minimum item level, its own progression system, its own challenging system in which that it doesn't affect your progression in anything in terms of raids or just the game itself. But imagine it's like, hey, you beat it on minimum item level. Could you do it again? Or having some kind of like, okay, ... So it's its own self-contained system. I think the rewards you mentioned sound awesome. Mounts are always a draw. Glamour is always a draw.
Yeah.
Like any kind of thing, like titles. It would be interesting to see if we could see like different kinds of effects. That's one of the things that overall, when it comes down to it, you have a relic, but yet you usually just glamour a hammer. How cool would it be if you could actually glamour a glow to any of the weapons that you've unlocked or something like that?
You have to be careful with that.
Okay, talk to me about
WoW
that.
added those in vanilla, and they were like the be-all, end-all until the transmog system. People would put enchants even that didn't make their gear better because they liked the way it made it glow. But once you add the glow, for one thing, if you let too many things have a glow, it cheapens the glow. So what makes relics special is they're the only thing that glows. And so if you decide we're going to make weapon glow or armor glow, or there's going to be wings on your character, or we're going to have something unique tied to this. One of the reasons I shy away from weapon glams is ultimates have this massive priority on being the most coveted weapon glams in the game.
Okay, fair enough.
And that makes them unique. Relics have these incredible glows, and that's your reward for the journey. Is that my axe? It's like, yeah, it's a cool axe, and then you unsheath it, and you're like, whoa! And so that stands out, and it makes people want to go back and grind old relics. So if you're going to tie something to this, the Heavensward minimum item levels give us glowing boots, and then the Stormblood ones give us glowing pants, and so at some number of expansions there is a glowing set available. Whatever it is, it has to be something that now is tied to that and that alone. And because once you add the ability to just add glows that are earned from things, then it starts to be a mix, just like most mounts are now.
Yeah.
Where when you have a game with 100, 200, 700 mounts, whatever a game supports, it gets harder and harder to see what the crazy mount is unless you make that mount truly unique. The Ozma mount is truly unique. And so that's why I think taking that Ozma skin and applying it to this, and that being the only way to get that. We've got Ozma, we've got that same skin for only these mounts. And that's the only way to do it. So I'd be fine with the glow, but then this needs to be, that's the thing. We're using it now. Just like when with account bound, they've said, hey, we only have so many item IDs for account bound because we didn't plan ahead. Same idea. We're going to allow you to assign a weapon glow to any weapon in the game. And A Realm Reborn is going to be blue, and Heavensward is going to be red, and Stormblood's going to be green, and Shadowbringer is going to be purple. And so when you see the purple glow on a weapon that should not glow, that is the Shadowbringer's minimum item level achievement, period.
Yeah. Does that break it? Because that's what I was thinking.
No, I think that's fine. But like what happened with WoW is they added more and more things that made things glow, and so now there's literally illusions where you just make things glow as part of the transmog system. So now you just have a glamour selection where like, I picked this weapon with this glow, and then you just assign it. And you're like, oh, so not really meaningful at all.
Right. Well, that's like the any kind of incentive is like it's going to be balanced and measured based off of its are people even interested in it? And I think a glow is something that's interesting. But yeah, like absolutely. You're right. Like you don't end up flooding the market with thousands. When I say market, like everybody has the same these glows. Like what would be the just kind of pie in the sky? What would the achievement be that unlocks that? Like what would you see that take? Is that 1,000? Dungeons? Is that 1,000 trials? Like what? Like or is it 10,000? Like what would that over the course of 2 years, mind you?
I mean, pie in the sky, unlimited dev dollars.
Yeah.
Minimum item level clears are seasonal, and so every patch we work on minimum item level clears from a different expansion, and so you spam them when they're the fights that you like, and as you complete sets of them, you get rewards to encourage you not to just do the one fight that's the fastest over and over, because we often do that with like relic steps and stuff. So we optimize it towards like, yeah, that's 18 runs of anti-tower. Is it only anti-tower? No, but you're going to do anti-tower.
Because that's the fastest, yeah.
And so like I would like some, I don't know what that is. The devs would have to come up with some way of encouraging it. But as you collect sets during that season, during this patch cycle, if you complete minimum item level on all extremes from that patch, you get a currency. And then that currency is used to buy the ability to make your skills look different, even if it's only on your screen. Let me change the color of my Salted Earth on my Dark Knight, even if it only changes it for me. Like if we're just spending unlimited dollars, like give me the ability to glamour my own skills. Why can't Salted Earth be all black or like dark green? Like why does it have to look like that? But we're talking about offering alternate animations for an enormous number of skills across a growing number of jobs, supported by a system that does not exist.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that until they hit some kind of theoretical cap. If they ended up saying cap is 99, and
the
now
devs have done everything they've wanted to do. They've run out of things to do, and they said, "Hey guys, we have an unlimited number of dev dollars to spend, and the rest of the patches are already done. We actually already made all of 7.0. What do you want us to work on?" Sure, go nuts.
Go nuts, have fun. I think so. The answer is yes. We want to see them find some incentive. Some ideas that we have is obviously mounts, glamour, fashion, things that don't. And I would just hammer home. Pets would be great. Just nothing that helps.
Bicolor gemstones. It could be minimum item level gemstones, and they just buy things from a shop. Doesn't matter.
And then they could always update that shop, so you could end up just like, I'm just having fun doing this challenge and then
very irregular tombstones.
Very irregular. The idea is that I'd love to see it. I think you've longed for that. Different ways to challenge the existing content. The piece de resistance is I really want to play the older content with my skills, and that's either bringing the other older content up to me, because when we go to 90, this is not going to be a thing that I wish would it's not going to have my mind changed, because anytime I get the older content, I'm excited because it's been years since I've touched it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this dungeon. It's so much fun. I don't run it because there's nothing that I like incentive that I get out of it. But that's one of the things that I've often seen myself do right now, is that because the rewards really aren't there for me, they aren't incentive enough for me, speaking just of Brian, not of the overall community. Like, I don't do it because I don't want to lose access to my skills. Like, I want to have access to my skills because I'm practicing at getting better at my job. And the only way to do that right now is sitting in the 80 content, which, when you compare it to the massive amount of content we have, there's a big discrepancy. And Aspera, thank you so much for the resub tier 1, 2 months of support. You're amazing. Chris, do you have any final thoughts before we wrap up this video today?
No, I think the general concept is, when people come to this game and they want a specific type of content, and we have a backlog of that type of content, how do we encourage people to be excited to go do it? Because when you run out of current content, there's very few things in the game that are the first time they've done anything like it. There's a previous version of the vast majority of things we have. And so encouraging people to go back and take advantage, especially as we invite in a lot of new players, as Shadowbringers itself has invited in a lot of new players. I think Zeppela put a poll out on YouTube a little while back, and it shocked me how many people, Shadowbringers was their very first time to play Final Fantasy XIV. And so there is a huge number of people that have not spent a ton of time in Stormblood, Heaven's Order, or ARR content. And so I think the question is here, how do we encourage people, in this context for challenging content, but for any content, to go back and take advantage of their favorite style of content in a past context? And I think that any way the devs can encourage that, especially when they talk about how hard it is to generate story content, how much time it takes to get voice acting, is something that I would encourage.
All right. Well, guys, thanks so much for watching and listening to this video. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share all the YouTube social media stuff. If you have not hung out with us while we film these live, you can always come and check out twitch.tv/worktogame. Chris streams Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central, and then Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we film these videos. I have not been streaming. I've been kind of doing a little dabble here and there in the evenings. I've been completely busy with work. I see that question coming up a lot, like, hey, Brian, when are you coming back to stream? I don't have an ETA on that right now. We just got a lot of work that we're trying to get done. So I'm happy that I can join Chris for these videos. Hopefully you guys enjoy them, and hopefully you guys come back for more content. Guys, for Work to Game, my name is Brian.
My name's Chris.
Thanks for watching. Hopefully you have a fantastic day, and hopefully we'll see you in our next video. Until then,
run something really old.